Everyone, in last video we have discussed regarding root locus problem. It was normal, they did not ask a determine for damping ratio. Here the question is, it is almost similar. G of s h of s is equal to k divided by s into s plus 3 s plus 5. So we need to determine a damping ratio. Determine for damping ratio 0.6. So here closed loop dominant poles we need to determine, damped natural frequency and gain k. So similar root locus step is first one, we need to find out the poles, we need to find out the poles, zeros, number of branches. So here poles is s is equal to 0, minus 3, minus 5, right? So what is the formula for n? N is equal to p minus z. So we don't have zeros. Remember, always poles will be in the denominator and zeros will be in the numerator. So we have here n is equal to 3, okay. So number of branches is 3 because p minus z is 3. So next, starting points already we have discussed, terminating point is infinity always. So section of real axis. So here section of real axis, first you need to mark the poles 0, minus 3 and minus 5. So here if you see, from minus 3 to 0 only one pole is visible if you hold a hand at a minus 3, okay. If you hold a hand at minus 3 only one pole is visible, that is addition of pole and zeros should be a odd number, then only the root locus exists. So that's why we have written between minus 3 and 0 root locus exists, that is RL, okay. So between when you hold a hand at minus 5, so minus 3 and 0 is visible, that is a 2 poles is visible. So 2 is a even number, right? 2 is a even number. So no root locus exists for even number. Only root locus exists for the visibility of poles should be a odd number. If it is zeros also you should consider. So next is angle of asymptotes. In last videos also we have discussed regarding, so number of branches is here 3. So we need to find out a theta 1, theta 2, theta 3. So that is first we substitute q as a 0, next we substitute q as a 1 and next we substitute q as a 2. So theta 1 we get 60 value and theta 2 is 180, theta 3 is 300. So next is the centroid. So here centroid, summation of real part of open loop poles, summation of real part of open loop poles, summation of real part of open loop zeros divided by p minus z. So minus 3, minus 5, minus 0 divided by 3. So you will get centroid is minus 2.667, okay. So next, breakaway point 1 plus g of s h of s equal to 0. 1 plus the question, given question only. So here 1 plus g of s h of s equal to 1 plus the given question you need to write equal to 0. So here what it is, s into s plus 3, first you solve. So what you will get, s square plus 3s. So you multiply this one with s plus 5. So what you will get, s cube plus 5 s square, okay, plus 3s into s, so 3 s square plus what you will get, 3s into 5, 15 s, okay. So s cube plus 8s square plus 15s. So this is what you will get answer, that is what we have written here, and that is k is equal to minus s cube minus 8s square minus 15s. That is what we have written. You need to differentiate with the s. So you will get minus 3s square minus 16s minus 15 is equal to 0. So here what it is, 3s square plus 16s plus 15 is equal to 0. This one you need to use a quadratic equation so that you will get a 2 roots. So you will get a 2 roots. We got a minus 1.2137 minus 4.119. So this value you substitute in this, okay. So that if you if you substitute s value in the k equation, like a minus s cube is there, so minus into minus 1.2137 cube minus 8 into minus 1.2137 square, like that. If you substitute in this equation, if we get a k value as a positive value, then it is a valid. If you substitute s is equal to minus 4.119, then we are getting a negative value, then it is a invalid. So only 1 minus 1.21 is the right answer, right breakaway point. Okay. So next, in the step 6, intersection with the imaginary axis. So in the intersection with the imaginary axis, you need to consider the first line, that is 1. So first line is that is even number A0 and A2. Okay, A0 and A2. In the next line, that is the second line, A1, A3 value you need to consider. Okay. So later you need to cross multiply, like 8 into 15 minus k into 1 divided by 8. Okay. So if you do that, what you will get? 120 minus k divided by 8. Next, for the last term, you need to write a k only, because last term what here is there, that term should be written here. So what we can write to find out the k margin? 120 minus k is equal to 0. K margin is equal to 120. So this we have found out the value of k from this. Before equation s square equation, you take k of s is equal to 8s square plus k. We know the k value, so substitute and find out the value of s square, and later you find out the value of s. Okay. So what you get, minus 120 divided by 8, what you get the value is square root of that value you need to do, so that you will get 3.873. Okay, don't do the square root of minus value. Okay, so minus, if you get s square is equal to minus value, then that indicates it is a imaginary plus or minus j you need to consider. Okay, so no complex poles are there, so no need of step 7. So after this completion of step 7, you need to draw first. Draw the root locus as shown in the figure. Zeta is equal to, they have given some 0.6 value. So for that we need to draw the angle. So before drawing the angle, theta is equal to cos inverse of zeta. What we get? 53.13. So measure with respect to negative real axis. So here it is very important. Graph is very important here. First you need to mark a imaginary axis. Remember, first you need to mark a imaginary axis, and you need to mark a real axis. Okay, and you mark a poles, that is 0. What we have next is minus 3, next is minus 5. Okay, this is minus 3 and this is 0 and this is 5. So after marking that, next what is the value of centroid? We have to minus 2.667. Okay, we have the centroid value is minus 2.667. We shall think this as a centroid. From here, keeping the protector, mark the angle theta 1 is a 60 degree. Mark a angle theta 1 is a 60 degree. Okay, so here what we need to do is first mark a poles 0, minus 3, minus 5, that is 0, minus 3, minus 5, and after that we have marked a centroid, that is centroid value minus 2.8, it was 2.667. Next you need to mark the theta 1 value from here, from the centroid. Okay, theta 1 value, it is a 60 degree, and theta 2 value is 180 degree, and theta 3 value, okay, theta 2 it is 180, theta 3 it is. Okay, so after marking those values, next here if you observe here, breakaway point. Okay, this is a breakaway point we need to mark. After marking the centroid, next we mark a asymptotes, that is theta 1, theta 2, theta 3. Okay, after marking those things, next we need to mark the breakaway. Minus 5 is coming like this, minus 3 also coming like this, and the two poles will come, and here 0 pole will come, and here it will break, 1 will go like this, and it will intersect the minus 3 plus j 3.87, and here it will intersect the minus j 3.87, which we have found out in the step 6. Okay, intersection with the imaginary axis. Next so next what it is, they have given the zeta value. We have found out the value right here, 53.13. so keep the protector like this, which is a 90 degree, like this if you keep, and mark a 53 degree, okay, from this side. So if you mark 53.13 degree, which will intersect the breakaway line, mark it as a point, this one, that is as a considered the cos inverse of line intersect with the root locus at point -1. Like this you check, x axis is -1 and y axis is plus j 1.25. so that is the coordinates. What is the p value? Okay, p coordinates. How we find out p means, once again I say, based on the what value damping ratio they have given, they have given the value of zeta. Based on that we have found out the value of theta. By keeping the protector, you mark the first angle. Okay, you should keep, it should be center here and mark a angle, and here it should join to the protector. Okay, sorry, it should join to the breakaway point. So where it will join, if you put a straight line, you observe, and that point only you mark it as a p. Okay, so that after marking the p, you put a straight line here and straight line here. Okay, with that point, x axis you observe what value you will get, and observe y axis what value you will get. That is the coordinates of p, -1 plus j 1.25. so after finding that, next what you need to find out, here intersect the root locus at point p. so we know the value of p now. Closed loop dominant poles for zeta 0.6 is s is equal to -1 plus j 1.25. so the characteristic equation for zeta is equal to 0.16, that is s plus 1 plus j 1.25, s plus 1 minus j 1.25. usually for poles, how we write s plus 2? if it is there, then what we write, s is equal to -2. so in the case of -1, what they have written is, if you do the same thing, s is equal to, then it will become, this will become s is equal to -1 minus j 1.25. okay, so similarly for this case also it will become s is equal to -1 plus j 1.25. so here s square plus 2s plus 2.5625. if you multiply and solve this one, s into s, s into 1, s into that is 1.25. if you multiply and solve, you will get this s square plus 2s plus 2.5625 equal to 0. okay, you need to multiply and solve. okay, comparing with the standard form second order system, you have already know regarding this in the third model, right? so compare this with the standard formula second order system, so that you will get the omega n square, right? if you compare with the standard formula omega n square place, we have 2.5625. so omega n is equal to square root of 2.5625. you will get 1.6 radians per second. so next, so now we got the characteristic equation what they have asked in the second case, that is first case is dominant poles, second is damped natural frequency, that is omega value. next we need to find out the gain k. okay, omega n damped natural frequency we have found out. K for zeta is equal to 0.6 is to be obtained from magnitude condition, that is g of s h of s p equal to 0. we know the value of coordinates of p, right? -1 plus j 1.25. so that value only you need to consider here. Here for the closed loop dominant poles, they have just taken for the characteristic equation -1 plus or minus j 1.25. but the standard due to the intersect point, what we got, the value of p is -1 plus j 1.25. that only you should consider in this case to find out a k. so here k divided by, in the place of s you replace with a -1 plus j 1.25. all we are finding the magnitude. okay, how we find the magnitude, have written, see here. so for example, -1 j 1.25 is there, means square root of -1 square plus 1.25 square. so what you'll get, the answer is 1.6. similarly you need to do for all. okay, so that what you'll get, 1.6 into 2.3585 into 4.1907, that is equal to 0. so k is equal to, cross multiply this one, k into this one. so what you'll get, 1.6, same thing you'll get. so all the things you multiply, k value you'll get. so this is the problem which they may ask for 20 marks or 15 marks in the. Everyone, in last video we have discussed regarding root locus problem. It was normal, they did not ask a determine for damping ratio. Here the question is, it is almost similar. g of s h of s is equal to k divided by s into s plus 3 s plus 5. so we need to determine a damping ratio. Determine for damping ratio 0.6. So here closed loop dominant poles we need to determine, damped natural frequency and gain k. So similar root locus step is first one, we need to find out the poles. We need to find out the poles, zeros, number of branches. So here poles is s is equal to 0, minus 3, minus 5, right? So what is the formula for n? N is equal to p minus z. So we don't have zeros. Remember, always poles will be in the denominator and zeros will be in the numerator. So we have here n is equal to 3. Okay. So number of branches is 3 because p minus z is 3. So next, starting points already we have discussed. Terminating point is infinity always. So section of real axis. So here section of real axis, first you need to mark the poles 0, minus 3 and minus 5. So here if you see, from minus 3 to 0 only one pole is visible if you hold a hand at minus 3. Okay, if you hold a hand at minus 3 only one pole is visible, that is addition of pole and zeros should be a odd number, then only the root locus exists. So that's why we have written between minus 3 and 0 root locus exists, that is RL. Okay, so between when you hold a hand at minus 5, so minus 3 and 0 is visible, that is a 2 poles is visible. So 2 is a even number, right? 2 is a even number. So no root locus exists for even number. Only root locus exists for the visibility of poles should be a odd number. If it is zeros also you should consider. So next is angle of asymptotes. In last videos also we have discussed regarding. So number of branches is here 3. So we need to find out a theta 1, theta 2, theta 3. So that is first we substitute q as a 0, next we substitute q as a 1 and next we substitute q as a 2. So theta 1 we get 60 value and theta 2 is 180, theta 3 is 300. So next is a centroid. So here centroid, summation of real part of open loop poles, summation of real part of open loop poles, summation of real part of open loop zeros divided by p minus z. So minus 3, minus 5, minus 0 divided by 3. So you will get centroid is minus 2.667. Okay. So next breakaway point, 1 plus g of s h of s equal to 0. 1 plus the question, given question only you should write.